Hey there, Nikki from Design Delights. Let's make the portal from Coraline. So I got 3 buttercreams, a dark blue, a dark purple, and a light purple. Now the background of this cake to look like the portal, it's mostly going to be dark. But I want it to be lots of different, I want those shades in there. So as you can see, I'm piping very quickly and a little messy around the cake, which is fine for now. I mean, there doesn't have to be a rhyme and a reason for this because I don't want it to be clean and symmetrical. I want the lines to have start and stop points, and I don't necessarily want it to look like stripes. Now, remember, dark icing goes a long way. A little goes a long way. So that's why I'm filling in the holes with the lighter. However, with this, I also want it to stay dark. So you'll see me right here bringing the dark back in. I also, again, don't want them to be stripes. So I'm trying to mess up the stripe a little bit right here by adding squiggly buttercream lines and, you know, taking my scraper and kind of scraping it a little bit, just to kind of give more of the effect of what I'm looking for. I keep walking back to my sink to warm up my scraper as well. I like to only do one pass usually at a time, and then I rinse off my scraper and then I come back and I go again. Yeah, so I just gonna keep working on this until I like it. And honestly, I use this effect all the time, whether it's water, space, gradients that you don't want to be super perfect, anything that has more of an artistic flow. And I think we achieved that here. So next I am applying the moon, which is made from fondant and of course looks like a button. I am going to kind of play with the fondant tool, and as I applied it to the cake, it lost some of its roundness. So I'm just going to fix it up a little bit. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so now I'm going to pipe on the tree that looks like a hand. That looks like the hand is going to pick Coraline right up from the ground. It's part of the movie poster. I'm sure the ones of you who have seen the movie know it well. But let's talk about, you know, drawing in buttercream a little bit. This is a tree, so it's pretty forgiving when it comes to texture. I want it to be kind of messy and bumpy, so that's great. So I don't have to worry about how smooth it's going to be. So for this, since I needed some really thin lines, I'm using probably a Wilton piping tip number 2, I would guess. And you can't see it in the video, but I have the image pulled up on another phone. I think it's an old phone of mine that I have running on data, and I'm looking at that image and just kind of trying to copy it my best. So yeah, I decided to go ahead and draw the rest in after I get the hand in place, and then I'm just gonna fill those lines in with long marks to kind of resemble bark. I actually end up doing a little hole in the wood in the center too, and giving it a little bit more three-dimensionality. But yeah, I'm just layering on not only the stripes down to make the bark effect, there's that circle, but you know, sometimes adding some on top of each other just to like make it pop a little bit more. But as you see, it's starting to come together, which is really cool. But yeah, I'm filling it all in. And yeah, writing in buttercream or drawing in buttercream is fun. You know, you can always draw your image on beforehand if you need. So that is just the house. I just used edible imaging. I could have made it with fondant, but there's so much detail on how little I needed it to be. And then I took a black edible marker, which you've seen me do in my videos, and I just drew on the edges of the edible imaging so it didn't look like a cut image. Now I'm going to place Coraline on. I did put a little tiny bit of fondant on the back side of her, on the like from her mid chest down, just so she was flat up against the moon and it didn't sink in. And then I decided I wasn't necessarily planning on piping the cake edges on the bottom, but you know, a lot of times I play things by ear. So I added that piping, which I think really tied it all in. And then I have that decoration on top where the mom wants Coraline to sew her eyes on. And then we got the key that I added. And you know, a lot of times when I design, you see I have that ring on top, I end up moving it. A lot of times what I do with cakes, I end up making a bunch of stuff that I know could be used, and I just kind of play with it and move things around, trying not to mess up the cake. Other times I sketch things out and I have a perfect plan, and other times I just kind of have a partial plan. And yeah, so I'm using a white edible marker to finish that gear shift soul thingy, soul ball. And finishing touches, I had made a bunch of black buttons, so I'm going to put those around the cake, and I also will finish it off with some gold and silver stars. But yeah, the decorations are all made from fondant. The rings are made from Rice Krispie and fondant. I used edible paints and markers to make the yellow star and the marks on the gear shift. The little dragonfly on top is all fondant with a little bit of gold luster to make it shine. It resembles exactly the hair clip that she wears. But yeah, the cake ended up looking really great. My customer was super happy. And yeah, I hope that you Coraline fans out there think that it's pretty cool that I did it justice. Would you believe if I told you that I had not seen the movie before I got hired to do this cake? I can definitely see why people like it. It was a great movie, and I hope you enjoyed watching me decorate this cake. Until next time.
You probably think this world is a dream come true, but you're